and they were all sort of spam clicking on that bunker or forcing the Marines and the Hellions to kite a little bit. I feel like that bunker might have been able to finish, and once you get a Marauder or two in a bunker against just Marines and just Hellions, it can be pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here as we are on a much larger map in MLG Tall Dream Altar. Titan versus Hyeohyung, Terran versus Zerg, and I'm interested to see how exactly the vVv's Korean player will be aggressive in this matchup as Titan does spawn on the top right-hand side of the map as the red Zerg, Hyeohyung spawning as the blue Terran on the bottom left-hand side of the map as Game 3 of King of the Hill gets underway. So far, Hyeohyung proving that Koreans are just better at StarCraft 2.
Well, we'll see. Titan, pretty good at this matchup. ZBT, one of my favorite matchups, and Tal'Darim Altar, one of my favorite maps for this matchup. Can get pretty cheesy at some point with tank positioning on that low ground by the natural, but for the most part, pretty standard play we see in this matchup on this map, so definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully we have more of a longer game, the last two games lasting maybe about 10 minutes apiece, or you knew they were over about 10 minutes in. So hopefully Titan's able to put up a little bit more of a fight. Sohyung defending an early cheese in that first game and then pulling off an early cheese in that second one. Been pretty impressive in both games we've seen so far.
Yeah, we'll see what exactly Hyeohyung is going to try to do. We haven't seen many of his build orders yet, so we can't make any true predictions. Just the standard Terran versus Zerg, perhaps Reactor Hellion, but this is Tall Dream, so you could try to go for a faster expansion as well. And then based upon those early decisions, you'll either be in the defensive position or you'll be in the driver's seat trying to apply pressure as we do see a refinery coming in. So I am expecting Reactor Hellions. How about you?
Uh, Perhaps we may see a command center go down along with the Hellions as well. I think just the positioning on the supply depot uh, might put a command center there. I think that's four squares wide to sort of wall off there, but I suppose you don't want to put your add-ons in that choke either. So, uh, but I think more and more players have started to go delay the factory a little bit to go for an earlier command center, just to go for more economical play, especially against Zerg, because the Hellions, Zerg players know how to defend them now. We were talking about the other week. So you're not going to do huge damage to those Hellions. If they come out a little bit later, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, but based on the timing, I think that was a close to a 13 gas. Normally,
Yeah.
if they go for like a faster command center, they'll delay the gas to like a 15. So this SCV is going to be building that command center right after the second supply depot. And Hyung should be getting a reactor here. So it is going to be that typical reactor Hellion and earlier reactor Hellion as we now see a hatchery completing for Titan and also having a spawning pool and an extractor up.
Yeah, I suppose I'm just a little too interested in the evolution of StarCraft 2 and sort of the tweakings of timing. So I'd like to see more players go for the command center before that factory, but we'll see if So Hyung is able to do any sort of damage. I imagine Titan's going to get a single spine crawler at some point here. He already has double queens coming out, and he's got 4 lings. So along with the spine crawler, it's a decent amount of lings to take on the first few Hellions that hit his front door.
We'll see what's going to come up next. The command center is being added, sitting at 21 over 27 food right now. Going to double train up some Hellions. Needs to get up another supply depot as well, as he will end up supply blocking himself here. And there's that SCV making that supply depot now. Marines are going to be able to snipe down or shoot down this Zergling right as it gets within combat range, I think. No metabolic boost, and it slips by, but does get killed.
Yeah, and seeing I guess 2 Marines doesn't give too much away. He's going to definitely want to see whether there's Hellions coming so he can prepare for it. The Spine Crawler is about to finish, and Speed not quite halfway done. So the Hellions might hit before Speed. They could perhaps get in behind the Natural, maybe roast a few drones, but sometimes those Hellions forfeit their lives if they get too deep into enemy territory. Already we see the second Queen being brought to the front of the Natural here, so 2 Queens and a few Lings. Going to try to take on these Hellions, and they are going to get almost a surround on it. It's quite low, and now these Queens going to do their best to sort of box out these Hellions and prevent them from doing any noticeable or tangible damage.
We're going to see the Hellions just simply do a drive around. Now the Zerglings coming in, getting some damage. There's some drone kills there, up to 2 now. Another Zergling getting in that final attack on the Hellion. The Hellion still driving around in circles, but still doing effective damage. And it looks like another drone will get taken out for a total of 4 worker kills. But I don't think that was really enough.
Yeah, pretty even exchange there. 2 Hellions for 4 drones. I mean, it takes care of itself mineral-wise, but you do have to remember that Titan had to create a few more drones with his Larva, so Larva can be limited in the early game for a Zerg player, so creating the extra Lings and the extra drones can cost him a little bit more than just the 200 minerals. And now we see him using those extra Lings, so smart, taking down this Destructible Rocks at his 3rd. He knows there's probably going to be an expansion after this. He just scouted with his Overlord, so he wants to try to get on 3 bases as quickly as possible. It can be a challenge with Destructible Rocks at your 3rd, but when you've got these Lings out defending against Hellions, it sort of works out.
Hellion's now going to control that top Xel'Naga tower here. We do see a macro hatch already coming in from Titan, so Titan should not be Larva limited any longer. Are sitting at 38 drones now, and will just be able to continue to train up more and more. Also going into 14 Zerglings, so really going heavy on Zerglings now, and we'll see how effective that will be, deciding to not finish off the rocks.
Yeah, well, he might feel like he needs to defend while the rocks are about to go down, so we'll see. But like you said, Hellions are at the front door, so they're going to do their best to sort of control creep, but already Titan's done a nice job. He's got, I believe, 3 active tumors spreading creep, and creep's going to be pretty important on this map. You're going to want to try to catch any sort of marine and tank timings out in the midfield, away from your base, before they can get to the that all-important ledge I was talking about a little bit earlier.
We'll see what's going to be happening next. Currently, 1 Zergling trying to walk up the ramp, but there are Hellions there lying in wait and ready. We can see a very, very heavy barracks production now coming in, as Xiaohyong should be adding or grabbing that reactor from the factory, and now double training Medivacs as Xiaohyong goes into a much more traditional build. Meanwhile, Titan now getting in 7 or 6 drones, going for a Spire, and now expanding to his 3rd as well.
Already, we've seen some pretty low SCV counts for Sohyung compared to Titan. It's 58 to 36, and even in the last game, he sort of cut SCVs, though I do understand why he did. He knew his opponent was just on 1 base. He didn't really have to pump out a lot of SCVs, but it's interesting the decisions he's making, not keeping constant SCV production going all game, instead cutting some corners, perhaps going for some faster tech.
We'll see if it pays off for him right now, as it is 37 to 58. There is no second, or there's no command center being built that I can see. So it's going to be a little bit of time before this 3rd base does get established. It is already down to, well, the rocks there are already down to 905 hit points. Still needs a bit more damage before it falls. But both players are now just trying to get a good feeling on each other. Titan able to almost slip by, get inside the base, but the Marines do use stim, as the Hellions are now star bursting their way, taking down all of these creep tumors.
Yeah, the Hellion's going to pave the way for a Marine and Marauder push here. That they do have stim, they don't have +1, and I believe they do have combat shields. So along with these medevacs, pretty scary at this point. We've got some Banelings on the way for Titan. Will they be able to finish? Baneling speed is about to finish as well. If he can catch these guys with some Baneling speed going, but the Baneling speed has not yet finished. They're being focused down by these Hellions. Most of the Banelings go down without doing too much damage, but some nice shots by the Zerglings there, and combined with these Spinecrawlers, going to crush this push. Some more reinforcements coming here for Sohyung, doing their best to try to focus down the Spinecrawlers. 30 Lings on the way with the Queens. I imagine these Lings will be able to finish off the remaining Marines here. Yeah,
here we go. Zerglings and Queens now engaging the Medivacs, trying to heal back up. We'll see the Zerglings still just dancing their way forward. The Medivacs now taking a lot of damage from the Queens themselves, as the Zerglings now finally clean up the last of those Marines there.
And we saw the Baneling speed had not finished yet, so that was pretty big in that engagement. Titan would have come out much farther ahead had he had Baneling speed, but an important upgrade was finished, and that was the +1 carapace. For those Lings, just makes them a little bit more hardy against Marines and Marauders when they're not upgraded with any sort of attack upgrades. So those Lings don't get shredded quite as quickly, and you can really get nice rounds and start taking down and fighting against the Medivacs and the Marines.
All right, so right now Titan is running on 3 bases. He does have a very large drone advantage, 71 to 45, and things are looking good for Titan. He's now going to establish up his 4th base. He already has 4 hatcheries, getting up his 5th, and things are starting to look very good as Seohyung is down by 40 food.
It's interesting Titan's muta count at this point. He just has 4 and 3 on the way, so sort of had to cut a little bit of mutas there because he came out with so many banelings and so many lings, but I imagine he will be getting this muta flag up and running, and then he's going to start putting on some pressure, doing some harassment. So Young already has missile turrets covering his production as well as his mineral lines, so he's going to be pretty safe against this number of mutas, but Titan, if he can get up to the 16 to 20 range, he'll start one-shotting those missile turrets, and then he can really start harassing the mineral line.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here. Just Mutalisk just flying around trying to look for some easy targets, but Seohyung sitting inside his base. Titan looking pretty happy right now, knowing that he's controlling the majority of the map. A drop was pushed back, and the Medivacs have to be very, very careful now with the Mutalisk in the air. Drops are very easy to take out, as the Medivac is such a slow transport unit compared to those very fast-moving Mutalisks.
Yeah, and Titan's sort of going expansion crazy here. He had just sent another drone down to the eastern position to possibly take a 5th base, but So Hyung's drop sort of intercepted that and took it down. Now we'll see whether that drop does get cleaned up. I think that Titan is waiting for it to pick up. He doesn't want to take on the Stim Marines with that medevac. He's probably going to lose 2 or 3 mutas if he does. Might be waiting for more and more mutas, but like I said, I think Titan is in big-time macro mode at this point. He has 71 drones as we see these mutas making their way in here, and 1 muta does go down. We'll see if a 2nd and a 3rd goes down. A 2nd does, so decent trade there for So Hyung.
We're going to see what's going to happen next. As the Zerglings are upgraded 1-1, we are going to Tier 3. So Tier 3 for Titan. And now he is up by 40 food. Mutalisk now making their way across the map here. We'll see what's going to happen. The Marines able to take down a Changeling and an Overseer as well, as we'll see Seohyung perhaps pull back with that medevac. He doesn't want to lose it on accident, as the Mutalisks are still trying to control the skies, being everywhere they want to be, as Titan now just slowly macroing up behind this, perhaps getting into either a Greater Spire or Ultralisk, as he is teching the Tier 3.
Yeah, this is a pretty scary situation for Terran. I mean, he does have his 3 bases, but he's basically letting the Zerg macro up and get up to Tier 3, which is basically where you're able to start breaking those siege and marine lines once you do get ultras and once you do get those broodlords, especially with the nerfs coming to Terran. The ghost nerfs can be that much more difficult to deal with those broodlords. As we see the Mutalisk going into the mineral line, they're able to take down a few of the turrets there, but more and more Mutalisks coming out. Right now he only has 9. Again, using a lot of gas on upgrades for ground. He's about to finish 2-2, and he's also getting pathogen glands, so he's sort of making the transition to go for that that Infestor, Ling, and Broodlord type army, preparing the way with some Infestors. I imagine he's going to bank some energy on those, go for some sort of mid-game push, already burrowing some Banelings as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of burrowed Banelings right outside So Hyung's base.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of scanner sweeps to try to eat through. I don't see any sign of a Raven moving out, as we can see Seohyung now getting into a lot of siege tanks and going for Thors as well. The Marines now making their way out. Is it going to be enough? Oh, the Banelings. Oh, the Marines able to simply walk by. And is it going to be enough here as the Zerglings back off? And there's a scanner sweep cleaning up some of those Banelings. And more Banelings. Oh, do find a detonation there. Nicely done, as we see more and more Marines making their way out.
Yeah, the one Baneling burrowed right in front of those Marines sort of gave away the fact that there'd be burrowed Banelings, but now So Hyung's going to have to save up scans. He doesn't have enough energy on any of his orbital commands to scan, so he can't really move out in front of his base or across the map because he knows there's going to be burrowed Banelings.
Yeah, but Titan right now, it doesn't feel like he has a strong handle on his opponent. He doesn't know what he wants to do to handle these siege tanks, these Thors, and these Marines. And we'll see whether or not the mental game, or whether or not Titan will have a strong strategy to try to counter this. In comes the Zerglings. Zerglings are now trying to do a surround, but the siege tank getting in a lot of kills there, as the Marines were simply there baiting units.
Yeah, one thing that Titan could do is sort of bait the Marines onto the patches of Banelings with those mutas. I know he does have a few Thors out, so it's going to be tough, as here comes one magic box on a Thor. But here come the Marines as well as the Zerglings and the Banelings. We're going to have a little bit of an engage here. A nice Fungaruric on a pack of Marines. But it looks like Titan doesn't really want to commit too much. Yes, now he does going in here, but he's going to lose the majority of his army. Just sort of hesitant there. Doesn't go in all at once, pulls back, and then goes in again, and he loses the first round of his army there. 66 Lings on the way, more and more Banelings as well, but those might be focused down before they can even finish. And So-hyung with sort of a scary push and timing here at the front door of Titan.
Yeah, so Seo-hyung, even though he was behind on workers for the majority of the time, his macro has not slipped. Marines now trying to engage. Banelings finally finding their target. Zergling's going to surround. And Titan, with a crazy number of Zerglings right behind this, able to find a timing and push back all of these Marines.
We talk about the creep spread being that much more important as you get into the mid and late game in this matchup, because you have to intercept those siege tanks. You have to force them to try to set up in siege mode off of the creep a little bit and sort of slowly make their way towards your base. And I think So-hyung got a little bit ahead of himself there. Wasn't even in siege mode and got caught by those Lings very quick on creep. And now we see 3-3 on the way for Titan. So far it's just been using Infestors, Lings, and Banelings for the most part. Hasn't really tipped off what tier 3 he wants to go for.
He does have Ultralisk. He does have the 3-3 attack. Ultralisk Cavern is up. We'll see as you now see Titan just expanding everywhere on the map, pretty much taking more than half of the map for himself. And he's not really even doing anything with these additional hatcheries yet, as he hasn't transferred drones. Titan perhaps looking to just establish the gas. He needs those extractors. He is very low on gas. He still has a surplus of minerals. And one of those things where a Zerg player wants to balance Zerg versus gas, as he is going into a very heavy Baneling, Ultralisk, Infestor, Mutalisk play.
Yeah, it's interesting that he keeps going with the mutas. He's been producing more and more, so spending some gas on that rather than tier 3. And I'm not sure whether he's really going to get mileage out of those Stim Marines, and if a few more Thors come out, could definitely make short work of that small amount of mutas. Already we see a bad exchange there for Titan. And I think he needs to stop being cute with the mutas at this point, as we have a drop in the northwest corner. Probably going to focus down this hatchery.
Hatchery looks like it will fall with really no problem whatsoever. 3-1 upgraded Marines, but it looks like the Zerglings and the Infestors deciding to do a counterattack here, as another drop may be happening on at the natural expansion here over at the 4 o'clock position. So Titan gonna lose another base, but now he is just overrunning the center position, hoping that Terran is spread a little bit too thin. Siege tanks are gonna fall. Infestor is still continuing to push as well. A drop may be happening. No, the Spine Crawl is gonna be too much there at the 12 o'clock position, as Zerglings and Banelings are gonna find a command center. And I believe Seo-hyung will not be able to hold back the swarm here.
Yeah, especially if all these SCVs go down. When Baneling has to get a nice shot or two, there's just a huge amount of SCVs trying to make their way to the natural. And in come the Infestors, the Lings, the Banelings, and just a few Ultras escorting them in. We've got a big attack here coming from Titan, hoping to end this one. Not too many siege tanks. There is a wall up, though. But the Marines tightly packed, a nice fungal or two could really end their day, as the Banelings making huge contact on those SCVs. A ton of SCVs go down. 59 workers killed by Titan.
59 workers lost now. Titan up to 186 food compared to Seo-hyung's 71. Seo-hyung looking to get back into this. It looks like the Marines have finished off another hatchery down over here, though. So Seo-hyung still dealing some damage as well, but there are a lot of burrow drones who should be able to pick themselves back up and start mining some more minerals or harvesting some more gas. The bases, Titan doesn't have much at the 11 o'clock position. The natural expansion here at what I'll call the center 10. No harvesting on gas just quite yet, as Titan is a little bit hurting, as he needs to transfer drones in order to be able to rebuild his army.
Yeah, just 73 harvesters to 13 right now. There are 3 mules on the field, so those will actually 6 mules, but 3 at a time coming from those 3 Orbital commands. So they'll even things up a little bit, but Titan's just going to max out here. Maybe actually go for a little bit of a bank as well. Maybe get up to about 1,500 minerals before he attacks. That would allow him to remax very quickly after this attack. He's still going to have to take on these siege tanks, so he's going to take some damage from those. He doesn't have any major upgrades on the way. Let's see, he didn't actually get Adrenal Gland, so pretty surprising going for this style, not going for that little bit of a DPS boost on the Lings. Definitely worth the gas.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen next, as Zerglings are just burrowing themselves, and it looks like Titan wants Seo-hyung to make a mistake. He's just going to try to confine Seo-hyung inside his base. Titan's going to start banking a lot of resources, since he does have hatcheries all across the map, and say, you know what, I know where you're harvesting, I know where you're not harvesting, and right now I'm in the driver's seat. You gotta come to me if you want to play.
One thing Titan could do a little bit better is spread some overlords so that he's able to see any drops leaving the base for Sohyun. So far, Sohyun's only been able to do damage in the mid and late game here with drops. He's able to take down a number of hatcheries, so if Titan's able to spread some overlords and see those drops coming, he can use that small flock of mutas, which I was poking fun at a little bit earlier. He's got 16, so they can definitely take on a drop of Marines. It looks like Marine's going to get caught a little bit out of position here. A nice fungal goes off, and that's really going to cramp Sohyung's style, taking down a lot of medevacs as well. So doesn't have a lot in the way of medevacs or Marines, and Titan gearing up for a big push.
Looks like the Zerglings are going to be coming around the far side here, being able to surround. Orbital Command needs to lift off if it wants to be able to survive and fight another day. There you go. Banelings and Ultralisk now coming in. Mutalisk now coming in as well. No fungal growth as the Infestors are too far behind, but the Banelings do catch them. And Seohyung down to 24 food, 18, and I believe that's going to be the GG.
Yeah, there's the GG, and Sohyung lets Titan get into a comfort zone, comes with that sort of mid-game timing push, but